Hi, my name's Jeremiah Zonio. This is Drunk History, and I'm here to tell you about the story of Miranda, the Bellarmine photography major student. Alright, so, let's go back to the year, long time ago, 1990 something. I don't know exactly what year, but it definitely happened in the 90s, or the 80s, who knows. China was like, hey, howdy, hey, we have way too many people here, like, way too many people. We need to get that shit under control, like, we can't feed everyone. There's not enough food in this region to feed everyone. That's a Malthusian bullshit, but that's okay. That was their motivation, even though it wasn't true. You know what we need to do? One child law. Boom. That's the shit. Every parent, you can only have one child. Only one. 2 kids, fine, or prison, or execution, depending on how we're feeling. You know, we don't have enough executions to go around, so probably just a fine. But only 1 kid. And so, basically, all these, like, families in China were like, ah, fuck. How are we gonna have, like, a kid to take care of us when we're old now? Because, like, yo, when we have a son, it's like, he marries, like, someone, and then they move in with him, with us, and we all just, like, you know, they take care of us. What the are we gonna do now if, like, if we up and have a daughter? So, basically, what happened was the family, they were like, this isn't a son. Uh-oh. Well, you know what we can always do? We can always just leave it in a cloth market. So they, you know, marched on down, like, oh, here's the cloth market. Let's just leave our child here. Boop, boop, ba-doop. Put you in a little basket there, like little Moses. And then they walked off, and they're like, bye-bye, little child. And child was like, Mom, Dad, I can't speak, but that was a real thing to do. And they're like, sorry, that's the world we live in. And she's like, but it's okay, it gets better. That's like, you know how like stories, they go like, oh, blah, 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 like Cinderella, like her life just gets worse, but then it gets better. It's like that. And then there was another person walking through the market, and they're like, here, I got you. And you pick them up and put them in the little orphanage. Is like a little baby lost and found, you know? But it's like finders keepers. So... I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Okay, so this family. So there's this like family in America, and they're like, oh, we can't have kids. What are we gonna do? And they're like, you know what? Why don't we just adopt? We can do that, right? And they're like, hell yeah, we can do that. And then they're like, whoa, where did I get this idea? Well, I have a sister. And she said something about adopting kids from China. So yeah, and then, you know, this family is like, hey, howdy, hey, about that adoption thing, can we do that? And the adoption center was like, yes, we can. The sister, she was like, hey, let's go to the adoption center, where we can pick up our free babies. And, oh, that's not how it works. Another family comes in, and they're like, shit. We're on this study abroad, but like the stipulant was, instead of coming back with like a souvenir like normal people, let's come back with a whole child. And like, hell yeah. And so they walked across the Great Wall. They actually did. They walked across the Great Wall. They're like, doo-doo-doo, we're on the Great Wall. Let's take some photos. And then they crossed the wall of Great Wall of China, and they're like, ah, shit, here's where we could buy babies. Okay, so they're like, hey, let's go buy ourselves a kid. And so they drove over, vroom vroom, driving down the road like, buy me a baby, buy me a baby. And then they like walk into like, 1 child, please. And so they went over to the adoption center and they're like, hey, you got any babies for us? And they're like, oh, we got one. No, how, I believe it's, you say you have 1 baby? No, we have one. And there was some small confusion. Alright, so they picked up the baby and they're like, oh, here's the Chinese birth certificate. Here you go. And they're like, ah, sweet. Is that like, you know, the bonus, like +1, you know, on the Unseen TV show with the Snuggies, where they're just like, hey, here's a bonus Snuggie. By a child, it comes with a birth certificate. That's super cool. And so they're like, ah, it does say 1-1 on here. That wasn't just made up. And they're like, oh yeah. Well, because, you know, real cool, instead of, you know, naming the kid, we just sort of set it in front of this, like, thing of objects. And this one here, 1-1, she just, like, went over to a pen and paper, picked him up, and we're just like, yep, that's literature and writing. 1-1. And that's how it got its name. And then they're like, that's a stupid name. You know what sounds better? Miranda. Your name's Miranda now. And so they got the baby and stuff, and they're like flying back. And then they look across the aisle and they're like, is that my sister? Hi, I also did buy me a child here in China. I am bringing it back. But oh, to where are we returning to? And the father said, oh, dear sister-in-law, didn't you read the pamphlet? We are going to the White House, where good old George W. Bush lives. And so the plane lands, obviously right exactly in front of the White House. Everybody steps off, and the door opens, and it's like, hi, I'm George W. Bush. I haven't done 9/11 yet. And also, you know what I like doing? I love kissing babies. And they present their baby offerings to dear George W. Bush, and he's like, these are some good babies. Let me kiss them. Mama. And he's like, you know what you need to compliment these Chinese babies? Some American birth certificates. And so he starts handing them out, like the Wolf on Wall Street throwing money out. He's just like, whoosh, whoosh. That's how George W. rolls. Before 9/11. After 9/11, he was a changed man. And the family, like, that adopted 1-1 is like, oh shit. We now have an American birth certificate. That's pretty cool. Wow, you know what, instead of 1-1, let's call her Miranda, because that's just so much better, right? Oh, yeah. She also, like, they were like, we don't know what her birthday is, and they're like, we're just gonna make that shit up. What day is it? It's gonna be March 10th. Thank you. That's so much better, yes. And so, yeah, they went through, they called her Miranda, and she lived happily ever after. Psych! There is no happy ever after. We all suffer until we die. Thank you. This has been Drunk History with Jeremiah Zonio. Good night.